Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of School's Guilty Pleasures. And I'm here with my special guest, Mia. What's happening?
Hi, hi there.
Hey, I'm super excited to get started with this episode.
Me too. This
Yes,
is gonna be
yes.
fun.
So, before we get started, want to do my thing, my special shout out. You know how this goes. Shout out to the Culture Garden, my co-host Rich Ray P. Shout out to the other Culture Garden family, or should I say the podcast family. Another week in the books. Uh, Spike and Maurice, what's happening? So, with that being said, let's get going. As you can see, we're doing I guess it's a cultural classic. I,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a definitely a cultural classic, definitely a cult classic.
Yes.
Um, Definitely the beginning of the dance craze, like the dance movie craze.
Dance flick.
Yes. Save the Last Dance. Save the Last Dance. So let's get started with some stats. This movie was released January 16th, 2001. Um, it was, um, excuse me, it cost about 13 million to make. It made $91 million. So this was a box office smash, specifically in the sense of, it took 13 million to make and it made 91. So it was a reason why we got You Got Served and all the other movies that came after this. This was big. Um, the cast: Julia Stiles, Sean Patrick Thomas, Bianca Lawson, Fredro Starr. It has some people in this movie that went on to do great things afterwards. I don't know about Fredro, but definitely Sean Patrick Thomas. Sean Patrick is one of my favorite. I don't want to say he's one of my favorite actors, but he's one of those ones that you're like, oh shit. When you see him in something, you
Yeah.
always like, damn, I forgot how good he was,
Super
or how,
underrated.
or how good he is. Yes, underrated. Let me say that, underrated, underrated. Who else is in this? Did I miss someone?
Um, side characters. I
Kerry
feel
Washington. How the fuck did I miss her?
I didn't even notice you missed her.
Yes, Kerry Washington. This is her debut. Now, as
Yeah.
you saw last week, a couple weeks ago, I did my my top 10 debut uh, film and TV debuts. This was not in there. Kerry Washington's. Hold up. That ain't. But she did go on to do great things. So, but I'm not a fan of her in this movie. But
Really?
that's another topic for another day. So, do you do you know the origin of this film?
I don't, and I tried to find it.
Okay, so there's not really one. It was
Okay.
directed by Thomas Carter. It was an MTV movie. They just kind of want to try something different. After seeing Julia Stiles in 10 Things I Hate About You, her famous dance scene,
Yeah. The
that
tabletop.
yep, that's when he definitely was like, yo, I want her in this. The script was passed along. He took it, did what he did with it, and as they say, the rest is history. Um, so I think that's about it. Far as just, I guess I can tell the synopsis. A young lady who was deeply involved in uh, dance, ballerina. She's a ballerina dancer. She abruptly stopped dancing due to the loss of her mother. And when her mom passed away, she moved to Chicago. She moved to the hood with her pops. And she was introduced to a different side of the world, something she never knew, man, hip hop. So that's my synopsis. That's the school synopsis.
It
So
was good.
yeah. Um, this movie did not win many awards. Let me see. I wrote it down in my. So Kerry Washington was actually nominated for a Black Reel Award um, in 2002. that's about it though. There's nothing. MTV Awards, Best Kiss, things of that nature. Julia Stiles and Sean Patrick Thomas. They actually won Best Kiss, Best Dance Sequence. They were nominated for. But this is an MTV movie, so I expected it to be
Yeah.
nominated for a lot of MTV awards. And it won a couple, but nothing major. Nothing major. So let's get into it. What am I looking for? Okay. Do you want to get into some scenes? Do you want to get into anything that you? First off, let me ask this.
Yeah.
I emailed you, or excuse me, I wrote you on Instagram, and I asked you for a list.
Yes.
One of the movies you gave me was Save the Last Dance.
Yes.
I hit up Rich and Ray. I hit them up and was like, "Yo, we actually on the Culture Garden have discussed Save the Last Dance." So I was like, how would they feel about this? I hit them up. They had no issues with it. So my first question to you is, why did you pick Save the Last Dance?
So when you asked me for a list of good, bad movies, I recently saw this come up online, like resurfacing, like people talking about how bad it was.
Yeah.
And not necessarily bad, but like, I want to say maybe unrealistic, or like it was a little bit dated. But I just have so much nostalgia around this movie. I love this movie.
Yeah.
This is one of the first movies that I went to see in theaters with my friends, just us by ourselves.
Okay.
And I have a close connection to this movie. One of my best friends growing up, she was a ballerina. She danced all the way up until like last year. And she was a white girl, hood adjacent.
Yeah.
So when this came out, it was just like our thing. Like we went to see it. We all like fell in love with Sean Patrick Thomas. And, we used to go to the parties, and she could dance a little bit like Julia Stiles. So it was kind of like, it was just for us, like it was like a moment. And I just remember really loving this movie. And it's something that I've seen a million times. Like just over the years, I've still kind of like just watched it randomly. It's like one that I'll keep in my rotation. And
Okay. I'm definitely not mad at that. I have that same kind of connection with this movie. For those who don't know, I am married to a white woman. I am an interracial dater. So in doing that, I've seen this movie a lot more times than I would like to admit. I've dated a lot of girls who love this fucking movie. One of my first real relationships, shout out to Sarah. No, it's a coincidence. That's her name. She loved this fucking movie. And my wife's favorite movie is Wizard of Oz. And it's safe to say her second favorite movie is Save the Last Dance. I watched it about 3 times getting ready for this. And every time I watch this movie, the first time I watched it with my wife, the second and third time, she kept coming in and just quoting it. I mean, before they were speaking, she was saying the line. I'm like, yo, you got to go. This is her shit. So, yeah, I love this movie. It is one of those movies that, like you said, is very nostalgic. But as I get older and I just love movies, I do notice not necessarily the holes in it, but I definitely noticed that this movie isn't as good as I remember. It's one of them. Like, it's kind of like Waist Deep when we did Waist Deep on the Culture Garden. Like,
oh my, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just have to say,
this shit might not have been as good as we remember. And we watched Waist Deep like 3 times in theater. So, but yeah, for sure.
Save the Last Dance is definitely a guilty pleasure. It's become a guilty pleasure.
Yes, and I seen a meme or something that said, getting older is realizing that Sarah couldn't dance and couldn't really dance hip hop and Save the Last Dance. Now, when it came to that ballerina shit, she had it. But far as that hip hop shit, like, I don't know.
She did the best she could with what she had.
Give her, confidence is key.
I'm gonna stick beside her.
Confidence is definitely key in any situation, though, right?
Right.
She definitely has confidence, and I just love not to get over into the scenes, but I definitely love the first time she sees them dancing and Kerry Washington's character was Chanel, I believe.
Chanel.
Chanel, I'm sorry. Chanel says, "Girl, it's just a little hip hop." Like, cause she was looking like she saw niggas in the corner smoking crack. Like, what the fuck is that? Baby, that's just a little hip hop. It's gonna be okay.
In her
Um,
defense. You know
absolutely.
what? We'll get to it.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump on to the scenes. I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh my God. This was tough because I feel like the whole movie was like
Yeah.
one good scene. I found myself like writing out everything. And I'm like, I have to narrow this down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those movies that's full of moments. And it's like one moment kind of leads into another,
Another
leads into
moment.
another.
So
And
let's do it like this.
sure.
You just give your scenes, and I'm gonna piggyback anything I like, because it sounds like, because I only have about 4, and it sounds like you got 20. So
I got a lot. I got a lot.
let's do it. I'm gonna piggyback off you then. Let's go.
Okay, so the first thing I put was just like the opening scene when you're introduced to Sarah. You know, you see that she's a dancer.
Yes.
She's really close with her mom.
Yes.
Her whole life revolves around ballet. You know, she's begging her mom, like, you have to make it to my audition. Her mom's swamped at her flower shop. And, you know, you see her kind of fumbling through her audition, angry that her mom's not in the audience. And then she gets out and she is confronted by the police, you know, letting her know that her mom has been in a tragic car accident.
Yeah.
That leads to, you know, the rest of her story. And I feel like that was they did it in a way that summed it up really quickly, but still you felt the impact of it.
Yes, I agree 110%. Now, one of the things that bothers me, and not to jump on that, but one of the things that bothers me about things like that is only in movies can you have a relationship that close and they put the emphasis on how close it is, but something happens where her mom's not going to make it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in real life, there's no way her mom wouldn't be there. Like,
right.
There's no way her mom would have. Nothing could have stopped her. She know how important that is to her daughter.
In real life, flower shop would have been closed that day.
Okay.
Audition.
Sorry. I don't give a fuck who died, who got a wedding. Not today. Not today. So yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure.
Okay. My next one?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving forward, I had Sarah's first day of school at her new Chicago school.
Yeah.
You learn a lot in that first day. You see her, you know, and as soon as she pulls up to the school, it's ratchet. Like,
man,
kids are just out, you know, it's like a hood school.
Yeah.
Nothing would alarm you or me, but maybe Midwestern Sarah, she's like,
yeah, I think it's very important to note that Sarah is from Vermont. And this is pre-internet. This is a time where if the slang in New York and in Chicago and in Vermont and in Cincinnati is the slang in Vermont, Cincinnati, New York, and Chicago. Like, slang ain't everywhere yet. Like, it's just pre-internet. You know what I mean? Like, so the talk is different. You know, that can be shocking to someone. Like, damn, you know. But now that shit does not exist. There is no lines. The lines are blurred now. Like, shit. You're only cool if you talk how everyone talks, not how the person in New York talks. Like, so yeah, definitely.
So still in that same like scene, because the first day of school is like, again, is a scene that has many scenes within it. Like her and Derek meeting in class and having that first little debate where you see like Derek is like a smart ass. And I've always like noted, once I started watching this movie as an adult, like Derek was the most grown, emotionally mature 17-year-old I've ever seen. Like,
Man,
I'm like, there was nobody in my high school who this man was like 30 years old, but he was a 17-year-old. And it was like every interaction he had, he was just like a grown man.
very wise, very wise.
I'm like, did they write this way purposely? Like, did they know any teenagers? Because this is not how teenagers act.
Nah,
But
especially not in '01.
like, come on. But instantly you kind of know, get a feel for his character. You know, from there you meet Chanel when she's helping Sarah, you know, learn not to put her shit on the floor because somebody gonna snatch it. You know,
That's called charity around there.
exactly. And then, you know, you see them at lunch. And okay, so the lunch scene where she first sees the hip hop. Now, in her defense, who is blasting music and dancing in the lunchroom? Like, at my school, that wasn't a thing. Like,
Man,
is there something that was happening? Because
listen, it was not happening in my high school either. But in their defense, I, just from movies, they make it seem like New York and Chicago and even LA high schools were different. Specifically in this era, like late 90s, early 2000s, like
you know
it,
what?
it was different.
I got to backtrack. I got to take that back. Now
Okay.
that you said that, I have to take that back because I went to school in LA in 04,
Okay.
05. And we had music playing at lunch.
Yeah. Y'all was doing what the fuck y'all wanted. It's okay.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. Okay. So yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
And she was shook.
Super shook.
But you know, she kind of like, you get a feel for her new environment, you get a feel for her relationship with her father in that first day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like letting you know what is to come, like
Yeah.
what's her new.
Yeah, when she kept referring to her dad as Roy, you already knew what that relationship was about. There was no, I mean, there was nothing else to be said. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never called my mom Kim. Um, so I don't
Jokingly.
know what that feels like.
I call my parents by their names jokingly.
Yeah, exactly. You know, telling a joke or
Right.
something. But side note, it's funny because I don't know if this is a religion thing or not, but I know that the Jacksons, you know, the
Yeah.
fat ones, they called their mom Joseph and Catherine. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that was part of, you know, they were what do they call them? Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know if that's a thing in their religion or what, but they definitely called them Catherine and Joseph. So
That was some Joseph stuff, but that's
it do sound like some Joseph shit though. He just was different anyway. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
But back to it. Um, in the lunchroom where she's like, that asshole. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be more specific. Who you calling an asshole?
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, that's my brother. But it was cool because she, you know.
Yeah, she know her brother. She know her
Yeah.
brother. And when you meet someone like a Derek, who obviously is probably top of his class, we know he's going to be a doctor. He's waiting on a acceptance letter from Georgetown. He's very smart, and I don't think he's used to what am I trying to say? I don't think he's
Being
used to even being
challenged.
questioned or challenged.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like as soon as she started challenging him, he was ready though. Give him his props for being ready, but he wasn't going. He wasn't going. Not at all.
Mm-hmm. So
Not
that
at.
was
Yeah,
Derek.
yeah, yes. And that's how you. I don't know about you, but some of my best friends I've met through moments like that, like either fighting or just I don't what smart mouth nigga like I don't fuck with this dude. A couple months later, that's my dog. Like Oh,
that must be a boy thing.
hey, probably.
Okay. So moving forward. Um the next day, Chanel saves Sarah from, the intellectual table.
Mm-hmm.
And she, starts to make some friends. She meets some of the other, kids, some of the girls. Um, you get your first look at Nikki, Bianca Lawson's character,
My
kind of
boy.
eyeballing her. And you know it's gonna be beef because she was tripping immediately. And then she gets invited to Steps, their little club that they be going to.
The exclusive club,
The members only.
the members only. I don't believe.
The members only dance club that they get invited to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like the catalyst to her and Derek's relationship.
Yeah.
And she goes, she's dressed country. It's country and you look country in it.
Super country.
And she meets Chanel's son, sees that she's, a teen mom.
Yes.
She shook again because
Yeah.
what? Like,
Different world. Different world. I like that. So that again is something I had that scene just because like you said, different world. She's not used to. She's not used to that. And I, I have a question. When they speak of members only, do you think that they meant like members only far as these high school kids? Like if you're a high school kid and you want to get in, it's members only? Because obviously you have to be
yeah,
21 to get in,
it
but
had to
you
be.
you got to be cool. And as far as like these high school kids, you got to be cool enough with us to get in.
Like, I feel like that's what they had to mean. Like, it, for us, it's only the people who Snooki can get in because he DJ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
once we invite you, you're in,
Yeah.
but you got to be invited by one of us to get
Yeah.
in.
Okay. Got you. That's what I thought too. That's what I figured.
Because these are kids.
Yeah. And shit wouldn't add up.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
mess. But it was cool. Like, she went in, she, got called out about she was about to be dancing circles around Derek, and he took
Yeah.
her to the dance floor. And you
Mhm.
see immediately that she is in over her head. She can't dance.
Not at all.
She can't dance. She ain't doing nothing.
Nope.
And Derek, he tries. He tries to get her together, give her a little something just to get her through the night.
Yeah.
And it was cute. You see that they have a little chemistry, that he may have a soft spot for the new girl. And she, even though she thinks he's an asshole, he's endearing. And they may, have a little bit of something in common.
Yeah.
And you see Nikki and her girls hating.
Super hating.
Damn, Nikki, she all up in your nut,
Hey.
cracking it. Oh,
That I'm glad that never caught on because I ain't never heard that shit.
who the fuck wrote this shit? That was, yeah. You had to take a look at who wrote it, and you're like, okay,
Exactly. You see who writes shit and you be like, all right,
it makes sense.
I get it now. Mm-hmm.
He ain't know.
Mm-hmm.
He tried.
He tried.
I mean, it caught on with me and my 11-year-old friends.
That's it. But see, that sounds about right.
But even then, you see that scene kind of leads into, we've already met Malachi, Fredro Starr's character, and you see what he about, but this kind of like shows you that fight that he gets into at Steps, shows you what he be on and why he stay in and out of juvie, why he be in jail. And he kind of breaks up the scene. All the high school kids got to get out because they fighting. And then Derek walks Sarah home, and you get to further see that they have chemistry. And, there just might be enough of a friendship forming where there's like a little spark between
Yeah.
them. And he offers to give her some hip hop lessons.
Yes. I call them swag lessons.
Yeah.
'Cause
Some like
that's yeah, some swag lessons. See, I'm with you. And you probably have the scene. But the scene, I'm with you on that. And then I have the scene where she ultimately is on the phone with Lindsay. You see her kind of her swag is kind of changed up. She's listening to Snoop Dogg. And Lindsay's on the and she's telling Lindsay like, yo, we went to this club. It was jamming, it was slamming, all that weird ass Vermont shit. And I like that she tells her, she says like, oh, you're living in the ghetto and all this shit. And it's like,
have you
damn,
seen anybody get
man.
shot?
Yeah, she was like, damn, dog, I ain't living in fucking Iraq, man. Chill out. Like, and I love the fact that she says, she met a guy. And she says, they have white guys at your school. She
No.
goes, no,
No.
actually they don't. Like, actually no.
Because Lindsay would have never.
Hey,
She would.
you know what else too about Lindsay, man? I don't rock with Lindsay, but I kind of do. Let me tell you why. Twice, Lindsay told that girl, "I'm gonna pray for you." She prayed for her twice in this movie, man. Real friends
Awesome
pray for
father.
others.
Her prayer.
Prayer was whack. That first one talking about praying for her to do okay. Like, come on, man.
Oh man.
Dear Lord Jesus.
Awesome father. We just gotta, that's why we had to leave Lindsay where she was at.
Yes. Lindsay didn't know. Could you imagine if Lindsay would have came through?
Oh, she wouldn't have made it.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Sheesh. All right. What else you got?
Okay. So then just kind of like, the scenes of them kind of like getting into the little swag lessons.
Yes,
And
I would say that's probably the most infamous scenes in this movie is the swag lessons.
yes, they've been parodied.
Man, times. And then I don't know if you've seen Dance Flick,
Yes.
but shout out to Rich, me and Rich. We when we did our Wayans Brothers episode, we watched every Wayans movie there was. And at first we weren't going to watch Dance Flick, but we decided to. And I'm telling you, I'm glad we did. That movie was funny as shit. It's more of the newer generation of Wayans, but it still was funny, man. So they definitely parodied this a lot in that one. And man, it was so funny.
That wasn't the first Wayans parody on that.
No.
Scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no. So that leads into my next one because it's like just like the movie flows.
Yes.
Where after their swag lesson and she does her ronde de jambe attitude and I did a little ballet, whatever.
Okay.
And he sees that she might still have like a passion for ballet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really interested, but he can see that she has some sort of like hang-ups or reservations about talking about ballet. So he gets her tickets, surprises her, takes her to the ballet. Again, I don't know no 17-year-old boys who was doing stuff like this, but maybe I was in the wrong place.
Man, not only not doing shit like that, but how can you afford this? I've visited Chicago, and the taxes in there is insane. So
Chicago's expensive.
Man, what? So that's why I'm like, hey, he really liked her.
Yeah, and I didn't know Derek to have a job, and I know Mama Dean wasn't springing for no ballet tickets, but
hey, you never know. I mean, now think about this too. Derek is the one that's gonna make it.
True.
So Mama Dean probably did go up under her her special spot and get that man a couple hunduns. Shit, who knows?
Could be.
Could be.
But
So
I do have the scene of them on the train and that lady who was so pissed off to see them together and then pissing her off even more with their little performance. I love that.
and it's funny. As I said earlier, I'm married to a Caucasian woman, and I've dated Caucasian women, and I've been in that situation more than once. I have a famous story of probably my senior year in high school. I went to Kings Island with a chick I was dating. And man, the black ladies, the white women, the black men, the white men, it was on me and her, like everywhere we went. We probably stayed like an hour. I was like, you know what? We out of here, man. I ain't on this shit.
Crazy.
And it's funny how times have changed so much, but even I remember being in that type of situation, like just chilling with my lady and kicking it, and we just flowing, like, and motherfuckers just watching us, like they can't believe their eyes, like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, not to jump over your scene, but I definitely want to go to the scene prior to that,
Okay.
where Sarah catches Malachi in the restroom. Well, she was going to the women's restroom, obviously, to handle business. And he was in there and he shouldn't have been. But it also gives credence to how naive she is. Because she should have been smart enough to walk out that bathroom. Or even smart enough to just go in the other stall and maybe listen. But for her to get involved is like insane.
See,
like,
she ain't know him. Like everybody else knew him.
But she should have known after that fight. She knew enough about him. I believe she knew that he don't fuck around.
Maybe she just liked that. She was ready to risk it.
Hey, stop that! Like,
he's a girl's girl.
Hey,
and he did slap the shit out of that girl in the bathroom.
Slap the shit out of her. But let me say this: she owed down, huh? He said, this ain't no layaway plan. You owe me for this dope, and Friday ain't good enough.
we not go do that. No. No.
Nigga said Friday ain't good enough. I need my chippers today.
He was insane.
Yeah, he was. And he always plays that role, man. Shout out to him, man. Like, I would love to see him really do some good acting as something else, man. Because he at this moment in his life, he's typecast.
Yeah, very much.
He's very typecast. And he didn't help his situation by going to Breakfast Club and trying to whoop up on Charlamagne.
He is who he is. He plays himself.
Yeah, pretty much. And he does a damn good job.
He does.
But it would be nice to see him play something different, man. Be a little softer, man. Pause.
if he could.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
But you're good on that one, though?
Yes.
Okay. So if we go back to the ballet and you see Sarah getting really emotional, watching, and after she like pours her heart out to Derek about why she quit ballet in the first place, and how she felt guilty about her mom passing away because she was trying to be there for her audition, and she felt like she was the cause of her mom's death, but ultimately he pushes her to get back into it. And we skipped something.
What we skipped?
We skipped something good.
Oh
no, we didn't. It came after this. See? Okay. Right. It came after. The scene when they're back at steps and Sarah gets to show off her new moves, show off her swag lessons. And I don't care what anybody says. She did her thing. Julia Stiles did her thing.
All right. All right.
I'm gonna
Listen,
stick beside her.
she did the best she could with what she had,
I'm
huh?
gonna stick beside her
I give her that.
because as as someone who has seen 10 Things I Hate About You multiple times as well and saw her tabletop dancing scene,
Yes.
I rock with Julia Stiles and her little hip swivel. She has a little bit of rhythm, and I feel like she did what she had to do.
Mm-hmm. I
She
agree.
did better than a lot of other actresses would have done.
I agree with that. I agree with that. She definitely did. She I don't see anyone else playing this role. And in 2001, 2001, there's a lot of names that you can mention,
Mhm.
definitely. But when it comes to the dancing aspect of it, it's like, can they dance? Could you see them dancing? And there's just no one, especially not anyone in a small enough um, name wise. So no, I don't. I definitely don't see anyone but Julia. So shout out to her. And obviously, like you said, that movie is what got her this movie. So the director agreed. Also, shout out to Sean Patrick Thomas for his acting chops, and this was
Mhm.
definitely amazing. Um, Shout out to him, his character, just for being, like you said, being 17, but being wise enough just to know that Sarah was going through something, and ultimately it was a lot of guilt in what her father wasn't giving her, far as just that talk of, yo, this isn't your fault. You don't need to hold that type of guilt. Your mom would never feel that way, and she needed to hear that from someone, specifically someone that loved her.
Mhm.
But if she couldn't get it from someone that loved her, she definitely could get it from a close friend. So shout out to him for that, because she needed that.
The
She
most
needed that confidence boost.
emotionally mature 17-year-old. And
Absolutely, he killed it.
but so we have the scene of her showing out at steps with her new hairdo and her new clothes. And again, Nikki, watch me squash this shit.
Watch me squash this shit. That's one of my favorite quotes, man. She meant that shit, and
She
she
did
squashed
it.
it, and she did
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though.
it. Hey, she said she was gonna squash that shit, and she did. Now she ain't squash it how she wanted to, but in the moment, she did what she had to do.
Yeah, she did a lot.
Yep.
Girl.
And again, um, that lets you know that ultimately Sarah wasn't part of the culture. She didn't know the culture, because that was innocent as fuck. Like that's just, they was just dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you started dancing with Snooki, so I started dancing with Nikki. Like, it is
I
what it is.
mean, yes and no. Context matters here.
Yes, I get that.
That's an ex. She don't like you. She come, throwing it back. Like she was doing a lot. She was doing that purposely to make you feel
Hmm.
like, girl, you ain't shit. I could still have him if I. Context matters. So it would have been innocent if it was a different girl, but because it was Nikki,
Yeah, yeah.
it was not innocent. How she even came out about it wasn't innocent. Watch me squash this shit. Fuck her. She was
Hey, watch me squash this
had
shit.
it, had it been someone other than Sarah, it would have went a lot different.
Right. I'm with you. I'm
And
with you.
you saw how Sarah was dancing with Snooki, and you saw how Nikki and Derek were dancing.
Now, Yeah, I ain't even gonna go there because I was gonna say like shit. If if Sarah knew a little bit more, Sarah might have been on the same shit Nikki was on. Shit, she just ain't got that
No,
on her. That's all.
no, no, no.
No, okay, all right. I'll let it pass. All right, what else you got? Any more?
I'm skip ahead because I could put every scene. I was gonna put in their first little scene where they had their cute little, you know, not quite spicy because they're still kids,
Right.
but you see them have their first little intimate moment.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll skip ahead because we knew that was gonna happen anyway.
Yeah.
And to Nikki and Sarah fighting in gym class, juxtaposed to the shootout at the basketball court where Derek and Malachi and Snooki were, all of them were.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're playing basketball, very, very serious about it in gym class because I don't
Yeah.
remember ever caring that much.
Well, you know what that was about.
Yeah.
Ain't had shit to do
Yeah.
with it. She ain't give a fuck about that basketball shit. She was on her ass anyway.
But yeah, they got some hits off in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leads to them sitting in them chairs having that infamous conversation.
Listen,
It ain't over, bitch.
it
I
ain't
don't
over.
know why it started.
Hey,
Because you always in my way. I swear I could quote this movie line for line. But
listen, I am used to it. I promise you. My wife quotes this movie like wow. But I have a few like that, so I ain't even mad at it.
but Nikki basically tells her, you know, you taking one of ours. Like, whole
Mm-hmm.
world ain't enough. You gotta conquer ours too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, what's she supposed to do? She here.
Right.
Who's she supposed to date?
Listen, it
Now, I will say, as a Black woman, I get it. I get it. I get it.
mm-hmm.
It's a very complex, nuanced conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of layers,
Oh yes, I agree.
you know, and it could be warranted in certain situations, and I get it. However, in this particular situation, Nikki was dead ass wrong, and she was coming for that girl from the day she met her.
Yep.
Um, I also come from a multicultural family. My dad has been married 20 plus years to a woman who is Cambodian, not white, but
Okay.
not black.
Gotcha.
And we've had our struggles in that area too.
Yes.
But um, it was interesting to see these supposed 17-year-olds navigating
Mm.
this conversation
Yeah.
because when I was in high school, all of my white friends dated Black guys. My two best friends growing up were white girls and they dated Black guys. Like, it was a norm
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our circles, and it was never really something that we spent too much time mulling over. Like, it wasn't something that I had a problem with because that was what I saw.
Right.
I mean, as you get older, you see things and you get it. Like, I get it, but
I'm with you. I think a lot of it too is just, and I think they did. Now that is something they did a good job of doing was just making sure you know that they are both in different cultures, like in different backgrounds. Like she came from Vermont, where obviously there are not too many black people there. And so the interracial dating thing is probably something she's never even saw before.
Right.
And then, they live in New York where they see it more than she does.
Chicago.
Or I'm sorry, in Chicago, where they obviously see it more than she does. And then I think it also plays. I think Derek being who he is plays
Mhm.
a role in it. Like
Mhm.
he is, they live in the hood, and it's not too many Dereks. Derek's is a far and few in between.
Mhm.
So like he's a good one. Even his sister kind of threw a jab at her, like, and it's like, bitch, what, you mad? You can't even date this nigga. Like
See,
that's your brother.
that was my next lead. Like it was, the scene led to the scene with her and Chanel having that conversation while,
I think she needed to hear that, but
right.
she needed to hear it a different way. You know what I'm saying?
And so the issue was, um, Chanel she was salty about her baby daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Her baby daddy was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah was oblivious. She didn't, there were a lot of cultural things that she just wasn't aware of.
She's walking around with those rose-colored glasses on that I hear that a lot of
Mhm.
people wear. Like I wear my rose-colored glasses. Well, you need to take them motherfuckers off.
Right.
You feel
She
me?
dating Derek, she was happy, she was having a good time, but she wasn't looking at how other people in her environment had to live and what they were going through. And so when Chanel said to her, you know, she may not have said it right, but she had a reason to say what she said.
Yeah.
It was basically just like you said, Derek is about something. He's
Mhm.
trying to go to college, he's trying to be a doctor, you know,
Not only that, a pediatrician. He loves kids.
right? He wants to go work with these babies. He's
Hmm.
trying to make something of himself. And you white, so you got to be right. You come and take, what, the one good guy supposedly that we have around here.
Yeah.
And like that shit hurt. It can hurt to see, you know, and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
It may be misplaced anger, it may be, unwarranted, and it might be wrong, but you feel how you feel. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
that's
I'm
hurtful.
with you. Like you said,
So
it's definitely misplaced. And when you're in her situation and she's sitting there thinking like, damn, like even if you and my brother were to have a baby tomorrow, like and split up, like there's no way you're going to be in this situation right
right,
here, like
you're
because
gonna be there.
he's going to be there. He's going to make sure y'all good. You feel
Yeah.
me? Even if he don't go to school, like even if she got pregnant, he would not go to Georgetown. He would get a job. He would make sure you're good. So,
And it's a cultural, because if it was a black guy going to her school in Vermont,
mm,
he would have never had no problem
man,
dating. Nobody would have cared.
right?
But you're a white girl in the hood,
Yep,
and this is the one good guy around here,
yep.
you know.
Facts.
So people are gonna have a problem with it.
Yes,
Now, is that to say that you shouldn't date him? No. But you should be aware
yes,
of how it affects the people around you and why.
yep. Like I said, she needed to hear that. She just needed to hear it differently.
Right.
That's it. That's
Because
it.
it was coming from a place of anger.
Mm-hmm. She was hot.
Which leads to then ultimately her and Derek breaking up
Yeah.
because she like, it's too much. All these black girls is trying to take my head off, and I don't have time for this. I'm trying to I'm trying to get ready for this audition. I
Yep.
can't do it. It's too much. And he's like, he was salty about it because, so you giving up, like you just go tap out?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
Yep. Yeah. Basically. I mean, it's weird. You know, you see this movie and it's kind of just about like, in a sense, that breakup is just ultimately about the conversations that they didn't have. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying?
mhm.
Because if they were talking a little bit more, just like a phone call, she would know. Like, yo,
Exactly.
I'm going through this too. Like, and if they would have had that conversation, it could have been a little bit different. But I get it's a movie, so you're
You gotta
gonna have
blame
that,
Derek.
huh?
You gotta blame Derek
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, we're gonna blame
because
that.
he was fighting his friends
Mm-hmm.
for her,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't communicating with her about the things that he had to go through for their relationship.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
she didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
For
Nope.
her, this is just completely like this is all left field. For him, he's like, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't want us
That's a.
to be together.
Mhm.
But to her, she's like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know it would be a big deal. So ultimately, they break up, and he's still out here fooling around with Malachi,
What an idiot.
trying to get ready for her audition. And did you have anything to?
Well, I was gonna say, and I like when movies do this, but I think the whole situation with Malachi is one of those ultimately still trying to show you that he's still a 17-year-old. He's still a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he should have way more sense. Like, yeah, ultimately he doesn't do it, but it shouldn't even been a conversation. Like, him fucking with Malachi shouldn't even been a conversation. He shouldn't have even, just because I'm not speaking to my lady or we broke up doesn't mean I'm about to now do some dumb shit and face 30 years for you,
Hey, I'm
nigga.
trying to go to college, and Malachi, as a friend, you shouldn't even want me doing this because you know I'm trying to go to college.
Man, listen, I one of my closest friends during high school, I won't mention his name, but he was a dope boy, and it's a lot of shit that he refrained. He wouldn't even let me. Like, bro, no, like I'm trying to kick it with you. No, bro, like you got a future. You go to school, like stay on that path,
A
bro.
good
Like,
friend won't even put you in their madness. Like
mhm,
they're gonna be like, "No, I don't want you anywhere near this,"
yep,
because. And so that's how Malachi wasn't. He was a horrible friend, a
horrible,
horrible person, and that's why he ended up back in jail.
yep. And I didn't peep this until the second time I watched this. Shout out to Sarah because she never did tell on Malachi.
She didn't.
She never told on Malachi. So
Mm-mm.
shout out to her for that.
She didn't even mention it to Derek.
Nope.
She ain't say what he did. She just said that nigga is scary. Well, she
She
ain't say
said
it,
he trash and you need to
but
stay
she
away from
said he's scary.
him. He's scary.
Very scary.
What do you mean scary? I mean, he's a tough guy. Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, Derek. Now
Right, right,
you're
right.
naive.
Very. Um. So I don't know if you have this scene, but I do definitely want to mention this. Um. The scene where Roy, her dad, ultimately kind of does what he should have done, probably the second or third time that they interacted.
I do have that down. Mhm.
Okay, got you.
I have
Yeah,
it.
I definitely
Her
had that.
mending her relationship with her
Yeah.
father mending his relationship with her,
Yes.
showing her her new room and
Hmm.
just telling her like basically, I'm sorry, I wasn't there, and she's like, I don't hate you, I just miss her, and
Hmm.
they had that disconnect because you know she was still very much reeling from the loss of her mother, and he didn't know how to connect with her because he didn't know her.
Hmm.
And they just needed that moment to connect.
Yes. Yes. Shout out to um shout out to just Roy. I mean, I didn't write his name down as an actor.
His name is Terry Kinney.
Okay, shout out to Terry Kinney. He definitely did his thing. Specifically, that whole scene moved me. You know,
Yes.
I don't say I dropped a tear. Two of them, not two, one drop, but not two. But ultimately, he did his thing. You know, like I said, she needed that. You know, like I said earlier, she needed that from someone she loved. Derek gave as much as he could in that moment. I don't think they were quite in love yet. So that was kind of like a
High
friend.
school love, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But that I couldn't imagine not being there for my child, losing her in the sense of, you know, a whole nother 100 states away, and then her mom passes. Now she's 17, and she comes in your life, and you're trying to parent, and you really don't know how to. And man, but yeah, he ultimately did what needed to be done and tell her like, yo, look, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, and you don't have to give it to me, but please, like, please give me that second chance, because I want to be there for you. You know, I've already missed 17 years, you know, so let's work on this. And as the adult, I'm going to do the first step, as it should be, you know.
Right.
So yeah, great acting, great acting.
And I must say, because we haven't touched on it at all, but Julia Stiles did some amazing dramatic acting in this movie. Any scene where she needed to be emotional or cry, you know, the scene when she found out her mother passed away, the scene when she was pouring her heart out to Derek outside of the ballet, the scene with her father, she did an amazing job emoting, you know, and being very believable about, like, you know, that hurt that she was feeling from
Mhm.
her mom's passing away.
Listen, I'm not an actor, but if you ever want to get me emotional, talk to me about my mom passing. Like, I hate to even think about that type of shit. So
Yeah.
um I feel like if I had to, if I was an actor and they told me like, yeah, you got to cry in this scene, that would probably be something that I would dig into. Is like, go that route, you know. Just because, like, that's just, whoo, that's my best friend. Like, sheesh, I don't even like thinking like that. So, like you said, her emotional acting in this movie was amazing. But it's some scenes in here where you're like, sheesh.
Well, we'll round it on out to her audition,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Derek running across Chicago trying to get there
Hmm.
because his sister finally like, I gotta tell you something. I
Right.
may have said something fucked up to Sarah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was mad.
And
I was mad at my baby daddy.
hmm
And she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, you can't help who you love. At least you found somebody who loves you
let
back.
you back. Yep. 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 Man. Shout
So
out to him.
he gets there after, you know, trying to stop Malachi. Um, he gets to
I
the
wasted time. He should have that not to that bothers me. Like, it only bothers me because he knows him. You know him well enough to know that nothing you're about to say is about to stop Malachi from doing that shit. So
waste of time.
you wasted 5 to 10 minutes of your life when you could have definitely been, you know, at the audition rooting your girl on.
Yes. So he gets there unrealistic because he's not about to just run up on stage while she's auditioning. But you know, it's a movie,
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood magic, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, she's already starting to fumble through her audition. He gets there, gives her little pep talk. She go listen, this dance scene. Okay, listen. I don't care what y'all are talking about. I
Mhm.
don't care. I will go up every time.
That's your shit, huh?
I'm not about to play with her. Y'all not gonna play with Sarah, and you're not gonna play with Fatima. She killed it. I don't care. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Um,
Okay. When she hit that heel toe, you
listen,
listen.
for those who don't know, that's probably the only trivia I really have is Fatima Robinson is who choreographed that final dance scene. She also is a choreographer for MJ, my goat, my dog. So when I seen that, that was good enough
And
for me.
Aaliyah, she was Aaliyah's choreographer as
Oh
well.
yeah, absolutely. She,
Fatima's
she's
a legend.
she's a legend. She definitely is. So shout out to her. She got Julia Stiles looking like a goat out here. So you can make her look like a goat. Stop it. Nothing else needs to be said.
She did what she had to do. She did the best she could with what she had. There
Absolutely.
was definitely a body double in there as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Had
she, for the listen, 10-year-old me and my friends in that movie theater,
y'all was.
you could not have told us that wasn't the most epic dance scene ever recorded. It
Mm-hmm.
was, it was amazing. And I still feel that way because
Hey,
my heart just, I can't help it. When I see her doing it, it's just every time.
yeah,
The
it's gonna do
song.
it. It's gonna do it for you, huh?
And and then, the movie ends with them at Steps, couples night. Everybody's dancing, having a good time. The soundtrack to this movie is also amazing. They had
Oh man. Now
um
you mentioned that this is a dope ass soundtrack.
my-
Peaked at number 3 in the top 200, so it definitely sold and was purchased by a lot of folks, including myself. I know Rich had it. Shout out to Rich again. We was playing this all the way out. Got some cuts on it.
it
Got
was good. But that's the end.
Yep,
And I love it.
yep. Listen, I'm with you. I'm with you. I had every scene. I only had 4 of the 100 you had, but that's okay. That's okay. But it is what you said. It's just a continuous, like
Mhm.
every scene leads into another scene, which leads into another scene. So there's nothing wrong with that. Do you have any quotes?
I do. I
Okay.
do. I have they call me Snook the Coochie Crook
Hey, I got that.
because why?
Why? You know why? Because at 17, 16, 17, we thought we was doing something.
Yeah, just a mess, okay?
Pumping for 3 seconds. That's all.
Just a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
I dance in circles, probably around you. Um, damn, Nikki, she all up in your nut, cracking it. That will forever be hilarious because nobody has ever said that.
And yeah, except for you and your friends, you said.
Because how can you not? After you hear some shit like that, that is something that you quote. Because that is hilarious. I have watch me squash this shit.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world ain't enough. You got to conquer ours too. And there's only one world. That is what they teach you. We know different.
Yep.
Those are my quotes.
I have every single one of those, and that's it. That's about it. Um, the only other one I had is they have white guys at your school. She said no.
No.
Like actually, nah. I'm over here with a brother. Um, who is your scene stealer, if you have one?
Fredro Star.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Because Malachi did what he was supposed he was the character that
Mm-hmm,
he was supposed to be.
mm-hmm. I'm with you on that, and I also have Roy.
Oh,
you say?
yeah.
What you say his name was again?
Terry Kinney.
Terry Kinney. Terry Kinney. Shout out to you, man. The more I watched this movie, the more I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
The more I felt his pain. I couldn't imagine. I have a 17. My stepdaughter's 17, and
17.
and man, like I couldn't imagine if something was to happen and it's just me and her. You know what I mean? Like it would just, man, that would be crazy. So shout out to him for just he put on his acting shoes. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, things that bother you.
Um. Ooh. Okay. First and foremost, common mistake when you said they were in New York, because yeah, Kerry Washington and Fredro Starr are both from New York,
Mm-hmm.
and they talked like they were from New York. I feel like they should have had a dialect coach or
Yeah.
something to make it feel a little bit more Midwestern, a little bit more Chicago, because they had New York accents. You would have thought, I think I did think for a very long time that they were in New York, because there was, and then you have Derek who has no accent at all,
Nope.
giving very much Chicago, but around all these people who have these New York accents, and
Mhm.
it didn't make any sense to
There
me.
was no. I'm with you on there. There was that bothers me as well. There is no one in this movie that is Chicago. Um, like they tried to make Chicago a character in this movie, but there was no one else to stamp it. You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
I'll give you an example. Love Jones, like uh,
mm,
Lorenz Tate is from Chicago, and you can tell like
mhm,
he was stepping doing the Chicago
mhm.
steps. Like there wasn't even a scene in this movie where there was any Chicago stepping. Like how do you have a movie
A
and you're
dance movie in Chicago.
huh and ain't no stepping? Come on, man, cut it the fuck out. So that definitely bothers me. Um,
It's like they just picked a hood and was like, okay, we're gonna put y'all here.
yeah, and they should have just went with New York. The one thing too that bothered me was just I love Kerry Washington, but that hold up
Hala,
that
hala, hala,
like
hala, 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 hala.
holla that whole like whatever because she was trying to do something there, but I don't know what it was. You know what I mean? Like it was bad. And I'm glad that now she's a fucking legend, and
Yeah,
it's crazy how far she's come because you would think that this movie might have hurt her, but ultimately it didn't, but it did because at the time she was a substitute teacher, I believe.
hmm
And obviously this is part of trivia, but I don't. When I do trivia now, I try to like just throw it in and out instead of like one big section. But she was a high school teacher during this. She was a
hmm
French high school teacher, and ultimately she became a elementary teacher because she was tired of people saying. Um, she was tired of her students saying, "I'm here to see Chanel." Is that right, Chanel?
Neil.
Chanel teach French. So that's what the students would say. Like, I'm here for Chanel to teach me French. Like, uh, she got tired of that, so she started to teach elementary
Yeah,
kids.
I learned that. I listened to her audiobook, and I remember her saying
Yeah, she said she was sick of this shit. So she also saves her first check from this movie to buy her first laptop. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, but hey, it is what it is. Some of the trivia you just be like, all right.
yeah, yeah.
It's not like she wrote a great movie script or something with it, but wouldn't let that happen to me. What you got?
I told you, me and mine dancing.
Mm-hmm.
You not squashing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Back the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah.
She
Uh,
wouldn't even been able to squeeze her way in.
I'm with you there. I'm going to say, first off, I'm not. She's not breaking up with me if I'm there. I'm not going for that. Nah, because we it's just a lot more explaining that could have been done
Yeah.
on his end. I think he gave up a little too easy. The second thing is Snook. Like, I guess the first time Malachi pushed me or whatever, all right, cool. You know, obviously you don't like me or whatever. Whatever is the beef between them. But I'm not gonna keep going for that. Like, we're gonna have to do what we gotta do as men. Like,
But
we got,
that goes back to they know Malachi.
yeah. And Malachi was punking the shit out of Snooki. Like, come on, bruh. Stand up for yourself a little bit. Even if you whoop your ass, man, stand up for yourself. Take the
Yeah,
ass whooping, something.
I feel
Damn,
it.
that shit got on my nerves. Like, bruh. But he did have me weak though when he first seen him. He was, shit, he was giving him dap and shit. He said, "You look nice, nigga. Who you steal this from?" Like, oh shit. So I always ask this. I usually ask it a little bit earlier, but I'll ask it this time. I'll ask it a little later. Do you think that this movie could have been better? And if so, what could you have done?
Um, the only thing I feel like could have made it better would be just clean up the dialogue and make it a little bit more believable, a little bit. They should have hired a consultant, a cultural consultant,
Mm-hmm.
somebody to make it a little bit more accurate as far as the slang, the way the teenagers talk to each other, maybe work on the dialect so that they're not sounding so New York in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But for what it was, no, I feel like, those that only just like the dialogue, but
Um, I'm with you. I don't think in a way, I don't even know if you can make this movie today. And what I mean by that is the thing that made this movie, what made the Sarah character so great was she lived in Vermont and they live in Chicago, in that distance, that those lines, I but we live in an era now that the person in Vermont knows what's going on in Chicago. A person in Vermont knows the latest slang. You know what I mean? Like, you can keep up with the culture from anywhere in the world now. But
right.
in 2001, you could be blind to what's going on. But for the most part, you really are only blind if you don't have a phone or you don't have social media, which is very rare. Um, so I don't know how you could make this movie today.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, I just can't see it being made. But ultimately, I don't think there's anything you could really do to make it better. This movie is as good as it could get.
Yeah.
And there's a sequel. I will never turn that bitch on. I
I
ain't never.
watched it one time and it was awful.
Oh, of course, of course.
And I don't remember much about it other than it was awful.
You know what's crazy? Sometimes they make sequels and it be the same fucking movie. And I feel like this sequel would just be,
It
now it's
wasn't.
it's in LA and the girl's from Massachusetts. Like, it's just a
So
different type of
it was
story, but
supposed to
ultimately
still
the
be
same shit.
Sarah, but they recasted her, and she was at Juilliard, but now she's hip hop, and they want ballet, and she's too hip hop, and she met another black guy. It was really awful. It was bad.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was so bad. It was bad.
So yeah, shout out to this movie, because without it we wouldn't have got You Got Served and Honey and
Lead,
yeah,
step up.
yep. So it's a few of them. And shout out to Julia Stiles, because what was the other movie she did that was it wasn't a dance movie? Oh, you ever seen O?
Oh yes.
Yeah. For a second, everybody was like, "Yo, Julia Stiles, man, she might be in love with niggas."
She had a run. She had a run.
Hey, I'm sure movie producers was like, yo, we need a white girl to date the black character. Up, what's the one chick?
Julia, stop. Yeah.
All right, so we're almost at the end. Where we're definitely at the end. Where we do rankings. You know, my ranking style is hell yeah, shit yeah, fuck yeah. This is for me, it's a shit yeah. My wife probably is gonna say it should be a fuck yeah, because I will watch this movie even when I don't want to watch it because my wife watches this movie a lot. So that's why it's a shit yeah for me. I'm going to randomly just be watching this movie and don't even know why. So yeah.
It's a fuck yeah for me. I'm
I
probably gonna
know.
watch it again when I go upstairs just because I was watching it and taking notes, and now I just want to watch it.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Uh I love it. That's one of the things that people probably don't understand is like it's difficult to watch a movie and take notes to a sense, especially when you love a movie and then like you have to be the podcaster and like notice little flaws, but it's your movie. You be like, damn, I never noticed that shit. Why they do my shit like that? So I'm with you there. First off, let me say this. I appreciate you for taking your time out to join me on this one. I'm
Thank you
super
for
excited to
inviting
put it
me.
out. Man, you killed it as always.
Thank you.
Yes. I didn't get to say this, but I'm gonna do it right now. October, SGP will be doing a Halloween thing. I want you there all month. So
Yes, I would love that.
please, I ain't speaking for this is SGP. We doing something. Nigga. So I'm super excited. I definitely want to talk to you about the ruins. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yes, I have.
That's one of my fucking. Oh, I love that fucking. I love that movie. So
I've seen it multiple times.
I watch that movie every Halloween. That's my shit. So we'll definitely be talking about that. But anything else you want to say? Get it out now because I'm about to.
Just thank you. Thank you so much for having me back.
Absolutely.
This was so much fun. It was fun to do a movie that I was a little bit more familiar with.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Culture Garden, of course. Love all y'all. Ray P, Rich, Kyron. And thank you. This is so much fun. I enjoy it every time.
Yes. Thank you for stopping by. Peace.